Why, of course you can speak to a man. This happened about 15 years ago or so. I was a team lead. This will be important later. At an IT help desk for a company that provided outsourced support to companies in a specific profession. Said profession is known for having employees that are very demanding and need everything right now. One of the people I supervised was, let's say, challenging. We'll call him George. See https www.chroniclesofgeorge.com/for the joke. George was late 15 or so days a month, spoke in a mostly incomprehensible mumble, and had been caught by callers multiple times falling asleep and snoring while on a phone call. He's also not so great at troubleshooting, and worse at documenting his troubleshooting steps. At this point, I'd been on a months-long crusade to have him fired, because he was dragging down the team and giving me a constant headache because I had to follow up with his disgruntled users. One morning, I got a phone call from a newer user who was extremely agitated and already angry about his computer issues. I barely got off my standard greeting when this happened. Look, I'm sure you're really good at whatever it is you do here, but can I talk to one of the men? I need this done right now. I'm never exactly sure why people think my lady parts make me incompetent with a computer. But hey, he did ask for a man, so I'm happy to oblige. I check around the room, and it's early so no one else is on a call. Gee, who on earth should I send this ray of sunshine to? Obviously, I inform George that my caller wants a man, and is insisting, so I'm transferring the call to him. George spends a good 30 minutes on this call. I hear him start snoring at some point, and he's getting nowhere with the issue. The guy he's working with is getting angrily loud enough that I can hear him over George's headset. Finally, the user demands to speak to George's manager. So, George transfers him back to me, and I sweetly apologize for the delay in resolving his issue, and say I'd be happy to help him with his problem, if he's okay with me working on it. For some mysterious reason, now he's fine with that. I know the exact fix because I helped the in-house IT people test it out. I have him fixed in 2 minutes flat. I have never heard such a meek thank you. Dude ended up asking for me a lot of the time after that. Which, thanks, I guess? At least he was always polite to me. Edit. Since people are asking, George did finally get fired a few months later, long after I'd ever given up hope. I also worked in IT for a while, and honestly it was never an issue. I got lucky, but we were servicing internal stores when I managed a comic book shop. However, oh my word, guy refused my Dungeons and Dragons assistance because he wanted to speak to a dude, since I was only there to boost sales. I point out my underling on staff. He walks the store and my employee let him know he's never played D&D in his life, while his manager played every other weekend so he'd get more help from me. The guy left, never came back. Tatafuckhead. It's hard for women to work in IT, because they have to skip over the step where you plug your penis into the computer. Lol. I work in a pharmacy and worked really hard to understand most problems. There's a few things I don't remember sometimes because we just don't do it often, but most of the time I'm most experienced with solving any given problem. I was once helping a man and trying to explain to him that his insurance doesn't cover the $15 extension charge that he agreed to, because it was a fee for being late on refilling his medication and was designed to compensate our company, for the extra paperwork we had to do in order to finish his meds ASAP. It had nothing to do with the cost of medication and wouldn't be covered no matter what. He cut me off while I was apologizing for the misunderstanding and said, "I don't want to speak to you. I want to speak to him," and pointed at my male colleague. He just goes up and doesn't even repeat what I said. He just says, "She's correct." Yes. She told you. She also pointed out the sign when telling you the price. It was pretty great. Eventually he storms out and his partner has to come in and meekly request his medication since the guy realized he couldn't go without it and would have to pay the $15 but didn't feel like having to look us in the eye when he confessed his mistake. I especially like when customers ask for my less experienced male coworker to help them instead of me. And since he doesn't know how to do certain things, he ends up asking me and I end up having to walk him through it right in front of the customer just so the customer can have a man help them. Which of course takes much longer than just letting me do it. When I worked retail, a customer asked to talk to my manager since he didn't want me around because I'm a gay man. So I got her to come talk to him and he said, "I can't find a man working in the store and I want a man." And then she just calls another department in front of the customer and goes, "I need a man." The customer likes men and he's looking for a man because he really wants to have a man here. Can you please send a good man for him? He really needs a man. The customer got mad. It was great. Then she gave me a break so I would not have to be around that customer and she apologized to me for the situation. She was nice. Had that happened to me? I'm a female butcher. Some people have a difficult time accepting that fact. I had just gotten a brand new, don't know anything person to train. No problem. He was straightening the meat case and a customer asked him a question. He explains he's in training and comes and gets me. I go out and answer the question. As I'm standing right there, the customer asks the new guy another question. Again he explains he's new and in training and doesn't know. Okay. Because I don't have a penis. I'm not knowledgeable. Fellow female in tech here. The amount of times I've got, "Can I speak to a tech?" The worst thing is how the tone changes when I go, "Yeah." Speaking. Don't bark at whoever answers the phone. Even if it's a receptionist, secretary. It's rude. And you don't know who you're speaking to. Clearly. 10 years or so ago, I got to help pull this in reverse. One of my coworkers was an immigrant from India, and she was by far the expert on the floor for a particular area of the product. We'd get calls a couple times a month where someone wouldn't want to talk to a woman with a bit of an accent and they'd call in to get the case moved to someone else. We'd always arrange to have those cases moved to one of us that sat right next to her. And after getting started and getting the customer on the phone, we'd explain that we didn't know that area very well, so we'd have to get some assistance. Then she'd come over to our desk. We'd turn on speakerphone so she could get their problem fixed. You could just hear the dismay from the other end of the line. It was glorious. When I worked a call center back in the day where field techs called in for assistance, I quickly learned there was a significant statistical difference between male and female field techs. Men were often grumpy, curt, self-superior, and resistant to being asked to do anything. Women were typically prompt, informative, listened, were ready to do the job that needed doing, and often expressed gratitude. I literally got to the point when my phone rang I specifically hoped it was going to be a woman on the other end because I knew then it'd be an easy call. I am always more confident in women working in a male-dominant industry job because I know that women have to work harder and prove more that they are capable of that certain job. Men have a certain privilege where they may lack something but they still get accepted because they seem like a great guy, fit into the work culture well, etc. When women gets interviewed for male-dominant positions, there are always a lot of skepticism of their knowledge and skills and so they get drilled. And interviewers have higher expectations of them, requiring women to score higher. Source. Worked in IT before with a lot of bro mentalities. Have a female friend who's a doctor that faced a lot of gender prejudice-related hurdles to achieve what she has. Be where she is. We all want to know, what happened to George? Come join us at our Tales F Tom Tech Support. We love stories of users unable to comprehend that women work in IT. Sadly, this is so relatable. Love the way it was handled. I'm the CTO at a small home builder and I also happen to be a woman. I rarely run into this type of thing anymore. But a couple of years ago I was interviewing MSPs to handle some cloud stuff for us. One company sent their highest 2 people to speak to me about it. Both of them men. During our talk they said that they would love to speak to the decision maker once we were done. I made it clear that I am the decision maker and they are speaking to the right person. Yet moving forward they kept implying throughout that they would like to speak to the owner, who happens to be a man. Well, our conference room is glass-walled and right by the front door. So they saw when the owner walked in and popped his head in to say hi. I introduced the owner to them and gave him a 10-second rundown of why they were here. They fell all over themselves trying to get him to join us. He could easily read the situation and just said, "Makeup dumbass is in charge of the tech stuff," and took his leave. They resumed discussing the situation with me, looking quite dejected after that. And after a few minutes I cut the meeting short and thanked them for coming in. Obviously I did not grant them the contract. If they can't show me basic respect during an initial meeting, I can't imagine how they would handle my concerns down the road. Maybe if you promise to wear an apron and take the call in the kitchen, he might believe that your fluffy lady brain would be capable of helping him. I've worked with far more men than women, but only some of the men were incompetent. Both IT and electronics techs. So what the hell happened to George? Don't leave us hanging. I am havening much laughing as I read the chronicles. Thanks for sharing. Was he fired over his refusal to give up his red stapler? I had a similar situation where I was working in software support and had gone to lunch when a gentleman called. It was a situation only I knew how to support. And the guys I worked with, only female in the department, told him they'd have me call him back when I returned. Well, I have one of those nicknames that could be male, could be female, but is more commonly male. I got back, got the message and returned the call. He was furious and yelled, "No. I need Archie you this WFNG in computers." I said, "This is Archituthus WFNG in computers." He said, "But you're a..." I said, "Woman." "Yep. How can I help you?" Quote. This was in the early 90s. Good times. You just weren't havening it. We had a George in the Navy. They were still trying to get rid of him after 3 years at our command when I bailed out. I'm never exactly sure why people think my lady parts make me incompetent with a computer. I feel this so hard. I've been in tech service practically since the damn things were invented and can't count the number of people who just aren't sure I'm qualified. Sheesh.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.